How we doing, folks? Welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin. I've got an album review for you, and I'm excited to be talking about the brand new album from New York Bruisers, Suffocation. This is hymns from the Apocrypha. Let's get the booklet out so you can have a proper look at that. Yeah, awesome artwork. At a glance, I assumed it was Dan Seagrave, but no, this is Giannis Nakos. I hope I pronounced that right. Sorry if I haven't. Remedy Art Design. And yeah, lots to unpack with this. This is lots to talk about. It's just a superb album. I've been a Suffocation fan. Let's have a look. I jumped on board, I think, around the time the self-titled album came out. So Suffocation was, bloody hell, 2006. Then I got, like, do you remember the Roadrunner double packs? Where you got the 2 CDs. I got Effigy of the Forgotten and Pierced from Within, and then I think I went back and got the Quebec City Live 2005. That was like my first patch of them, and then I just built the collection up as I went along, as well as buying new albums. I'm trying to think when I first saw Suffocation live, because the first time I saw Suffocation, it was at the Underworld. Mike Smith was still on drums at that point, and Frank Mullen was still on vocals. So I did see not the original lineup, but the first reformed lineup with most of the classic members. You had a guy, I can never pronounce his surname, on guitar as well. Let's quickly look his name up. Marcheus, I think it is. But that must have been the Blood Oath tour, because Pinnacle of Bedlam had David Koros on drums, and that was the point as well when Frank stopped touring with the band. So yeah, it must have been. I saw them at the Underworld again. That was with Frank. Frank was hilarious that night, and yeah, Mike Smith amazing on the drums. The second time I saw them, I think they were opening for Nile, and I want to say Derek, but that's not his name, is it? Who's the new guy on vocals? Ricky Myers. Ricky Myers was actually doing vocals for them then. So the whole point was Frank Mullen is still on vocals, but it's hard for him to tour, so they're touring with fill-in vocalists. So Ricky's been singing in the band for quite a while now, but this is the first time he's managed to he's now on the album. So then in 2017, they put out Of the Dark Light. As you can see there, mine's signed. And me and Gully, when we're doing the metal show with Gully and Joe, again, that was at the Underworld. And Kevin, I want to say Mully. Bear with me one moment. Kevin Muller, sorry. Kevin Muller was the vocalist that night. But then you had the new lineup with this one. So they had a new drummer. Let's look it up. Hold up. Yeah, so you got Charlie Irigo and Eric Morotti, I think that is, on drums. So this was the first album with the current lineup, but although Frank is still singing on the album. But yeah, we interviewed Terence, and then I ended up interviewing him another time, and that was at the Is It an Academy, and I went on their bus for that one, but that was for a different. I think that might have been for Music Trespass. Who are they playing with at Is It an Academy though? That's gonna bug me now, but yeah. So I've saw them. So anyway, when they headlined the Underworld for this album, yeah, like I say, we went backstage with them, and then we went to the bar with Terence and Charlie was a lot of fun. You could tell he was, young guy who's landed the best job ever, for a death metal guitarist, and he was loving every moment of it. Kevin was there as well, and yeah, we had a quick drink with them in the bar before the show started. But then I saw them again at Is It an Academy? Was it Is It an Academy or was it the? But I ended up doing another. No, it was definitely Is It an Academy. Who the fuck were they touring with? But Ricky was back in the band at that point. And I think at that point it was announced that Frank was definitely leaving the band, and he was going to be doing like a short run of shows in America, and then that would be it. And I remember asking Terence about that, like, you know, and he said like he was kind of relieved that Frank had now just made a decision, because it was this weird 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you know, I think he felt that this current lineup that he had felt that they deserved an album, you know. So yeah, Charlie, Eric, and Ricky have been, as long as obviously with Derek Boyer, who's been the bass player and lyric writer for the band since the band reformed. So Terence and Derek are the two main guys now, and yeah, Charlie, Eric, and Ricky, they've been touring shitloads throughout the years. I mean, they announced a tour with like 30 shows, and then as soon as that tour's done, they announce another 30 shows. And this has been since 2017, with Ricky back in the band, sort of 2018, 2019 maybe. They've been constantly gigging, constantly touring, so they're a well-oiled machine at this point. But yeah, Of the Dark Light was a bit of a transitional album, because you had these new members come in while Frank was still doing the vocals. Terence wrote all the music with this, and Derek did all the lyrics. So you've got the old guard writing everything. Frank's still on vocals. I think Kevin, maybe Ricky as well, had done backing vocals on this album. But Charlie and Eric had joined the band and, you know, performed well. But on this album, Charlie has wrote a shitload of the music as well with Terence. And obviously Ricky's well settled into his... Eric is well settled into his role as a drummer as well. So yeah, they released the last show they did with Frank live in North America. This was 2021, I believe. So quickly look it up. Yeah, 2021. So from 2017, you've been getting a hell of a lot of touring with this album. Then they've finally said goodbye to Frank. You've got a live album in 2021. Obviously, the shit show happened, so that probably put a big delay on proceedings. But now, yeah, this is it. This is the new era of Suffocation. So you got the original run up to sort of, what was it, Despise the Sun, and then Souls to Deny. So 2004 was the reunion album, but now it's like you've got the new Suffocation. This is the mark of a new era, and the new members have now, they're settled into their role. So Charlie and Eric are well settled in their roles. Charlie has now managed to write a load of music, contributing to this album as well, and Ricky is not only done all the vocals but also all the lyrics. So that's a big contribution as well. Frank Mullen does turn up on the last track. I thought originally that he just did some backing vocals as a bit of a thing, but no, he actually does. Frank Mullen does all of the vocals on the last track. So I don't know if that was recorded to begin with and it was just a leftover track that they had, or if he just turned up and just did one more song just to say goodbye. Either way, it works. But yeah, this is a masterpiece, basically. Everything you want from a Suffocation album. I mean, what we have now with this slamming, brutal death metal, deathcore, Suffocation, and Internal Bleeding maybe as well, they're the standard setters. And it feels like, Suffocation went through a bit of a rocky period where they were just doing what they could with doing the best they could with what they had in terms of lineup changes and touring, but it seems like now a new lineup has solidified, and now we've got an album with a good, well-oiled, tons of shows under their belt. This lineup has gelled. This is a proper lineup, and you can tell, like, from speaking to them and watching them on stage, you can tell this is a band of brothers. They're good friends, and the new members get Suffocation, and when they're contributing to it, you're getting the full package here, basically. Everything you want. Complex, complex song structures, but not over the top. It's not to the point of, you know, just wanky for the sake of it. Everything serves its purpose. You've got brutal slamming sections, slower, doomier sections, all intertwined in with each other to make a tight, concise song. I even, on the opening track, Hymns of the Apocrypha, I even noticed like a little melodic, you know, sort of just in there, in the mix as well, and that kind of chopped things up nicely. That kind of gave a little ray of light in the darkness. But Perpetual Deception was a good one that stuck out to me. Immortal... I can't read the thing on this. I'm going to have to go on the figure, read it the way the writings... what did I say? Immortal Execration. Yeah, that was one I... basically, whenever I was thinking, oh yeah, this bit's good, I was taking a note of what it said on my car dashboard. And Delusions of Mortality as well. I remember Delusions of Mortality, or it might have been Ignorant of this, it might have been the last track actually. Had this sort of dun 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 dun. It was kind of, you know, the way Monstrosity do that, you know, that nice groove that they fall into. There was bits of it as well that kind of slightly reminded me. There was really dark parts that gave me a little hint of Morbid Angel. But I suppose the big question is, how is Ricky fitting into the role? Because obviously he's got big shoes to fill, taking over from Frank Mullen, and he's got that perfect balance. Actually, he sounds familiar enough to not completely, like, sometimes it can be a bit disjointed when you get a new vocalist. It's a hard balance because you don't want to be a copy of the original guy, but you don't want to be too different because you don't want to throw people off. But he's got that nice balance. He's just similar enough but distinctive enough to have his own identity. And when you go through the booklet as well, when you see who's wrote the music and whatnot, like Charlie has wrote quite a bit and contribute. So it's either Charlie or Terence, or Charlie and Terence together. Derek Boyer has contributed quite a bit of music as well. When you look at previous albums as well, Derek Boyer, awesome bass player, awesome performer as well. He's been doing the lion's share, if not all, the lyrics. But Ricky's wrote his own lyrics on this one as well. So yeah, it's all, everyone's chipping in, you know, and it's, you can tell this feels, you get so much now with modern albums, you got like sort of one guy and everyone's just sort of, it's like a captain with staff. This feels, no, this is a proper concise album where everyone is chipped in together, and this feels like a band effort, and it feels like a Suffocation album. I think that's what the point I'm getting to here. This, with these new members on board, it still feels I'm listening to a Suffocation album. It has that Suffocation, that distinctive Suffocation feel. And Suffocation, to me, where you've got like older members with Terence, who's been there since day one, and Derek's been there now since 2006, but now you've got these new members all together. It's the new era, basically, going forward. But Suffocation are still the standards setters in their lane, at least, of death metal. And with that new blood and the old blood together, you've got that. It's not just a couple of old guys that are probably aren't down with the kids or whatever, or what's going on in the scene at the time. You've got that mixture of both. You've got probably got Ricky, Charlie, and Eric kind of ears to the ground, seeing what's going on, while Terence and Derek have got that classic head on their shoulders where they know, you know, the classic template, so to speak. But yeah, highly enjoyable, full of hooks. This is the thing as well. It's not just a barrage. It's not just an assault on the senses that just leaves you at the end. I mean, there's a lot of songs on it that you're nodding along, going, "Fucking hell! Listen to those drums. Listen to that riff. Listen to that." Blazing solos, of course. I mean, you don't even need to tell Terence as well. I would say now, Terence Hobbs is one of the best guitarists I have ever seen in my life, and that is across the board of all music. When he does solos, he is phenomenal. And yeah, of course, he's on good form here. But yeah, the band should be proud with this. This is exciting times, and it's an exciting time to be a Suffocation fan. This is kind of like the band's brave new world, so to speak. It's coming back with a bang, with an album that's setting a new standard going forward. Going forward, Suffocation, this is what they need to be measuring themselves up against. The classics is the classics for a reason, but they've outdone themselves here. And yeah, this new lineup has chiseled out a new masterpiece to go with a fantastic, underrated back catalogue. So yeah, definitely check this out, especially if you're a Suffocation fan, especially if you've maybe ducked out for the last couple of albums or whatever. No, now's the time to jump on board. And if you're unfamiliar and you're a new fan, yeah, good an album as any to start with, but definitely go back and check out the original stuff as well. Pierce from Within, I think, is probably regarded as the classic, maybe the best one to start with. I really like 2006 Self-Titled album, but your first album of any band tends to be a favourite, doesn't it? But yeah, no, I'm really happy with this album. I'm excited to be. I think we're pretty much done with new albums now for this year. I think I'm going to have to start putting together my top 10. So yeah, Suffocation. Definitely go watch it. Go listen to it. Go buy it. Actually buy it as well. Spotify and YouTube and all that. It's all good. But definitely go buy it. So, and go see them on this new tour as well, if they're touring near you. So yeah. Thanks as always for watching. If this is your first time, how are you going? Welcome aboard. And regular watchers, welcome back. And if you got this far, do me a favour. Just give us one of them. And yeah, and if you want to start supporting the channel, I've started a Buy Me a Coffee. There's a link in that as well. If you want to chuck us a couple of quid to buy a beer. Sorry, I mean coffee. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you all soon. Cheers.